morning, Dan and Amy. And fortunately, we here at AM 560 have a lot of professionals in a lot of different sectors in our stable of contributors and advertisers. We've talked to Stephen Leahy about the tax implications of what the government is doing, both for individuals as well as businesses. We talked to David Hochberg about mortgages. We talked to
Roy Spencer from Permaseal.
Right.
Well, yeah, just that they're still up and running and they're, exercising social distancing when they come to your house.
And we're going to talk to C. Stephen Tucker at the top of the 8 o'clock hour about health insurance, which is a hot topic, particularly for those that don't have health insurance in this moment. But now we talk to our friend David Kolssak, who is the owner of TurnkeyIT, as in our TurnkeyIT answer line and our TurnkeyIT text line, talking about security for businesses in this time and probably era of remote working and remote learning. David, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. There's nothing more exciting than computing.
Yes, well, it's getting a lot sexier these days. IT is getting a lot sexier than it used to be. So, for example, I mean, last week we talked about this Zoom CEO, a Zoom Communications CEO, having to make sort of a international apology for not having the security on his platform that was required to prevent people from hacking in during these Zoom classroom sessions. And having, Dr. Amanda Hugginkiss disrupt kids and teachers trying to have education remotely. So, I mean, that's probably the best real-world example of late of the importance of security.
Well, certainly, there's no question that we need to be secure in this day and age. But the funny thing is my kids tell me that their friends are giving out the passwords to those Zoom meetings for the Zoom bombing. So as much as it is a security flaw, the CEO lied of, again, it's purported that he lied about the encryption of all of that. The bottom line is Zoom is probably not the best, most secure platform, and people shouldn't use it if they can avoid it. But now, there's basically everyone is using Zoom as their platform for meetings and for classroom stuff and all of that. But, there's been
what's a safer alternative?
Well, there are a lot of alternatives out there. The Google world, comes to mind, but also, we're a Microsoft house, so Microsoft Teams is a really great platform. But the bottom line is if the screen shows more than 4 pictures on it, it's probably not an encrypted platform. That's kind of the rule of thumb in the world of working with these kinds of applications. So I would probably avoid that if I could, but again, it's kind of the world that we live in, and I don't know if you can avoid it at this point.
Yeah, I had to be careful after that NBC 5 guy got exposed for not wearing pants as he's doing it remotely. I had to start wearing pants again in studio. So, I mean, it is changing the way everybody does things. Give us some of the advice and counsel, the questions that you would be telling businesses to think about for security on their systems as employees are working remotely.
Well, the world has changed, very quickly, and I think we saw a really big jump, in the 2 weeks prior to the shutdown. We saw at TurnkeyIT, we saw a lot of our customers calling in and asking us for those remote ways to remotely connect to the workplace. And, you can't make plastic bags, you can't make steel, you can't do things that you would normally do remotely. So a lot of those frontline workers are forced to go to the front lines and do those things to be essential workers. But those of us that have these kinds of platforms in place, it's been really very useful to move to, again, I keep mentioning this Microsoft Teams. It's the Skype of today, and Teams is an application that allows you as a business owner to not only communicate like instant messaging, like the old AOL Instant Messenger. You could do that. You can share files. I can share my screen with you, but then we can have meetings up to 250 people, and you can go higher than that, but only 4 people's pictures show up on the page. So we're seeing a lot of sales meetings today, if anybody's buying anything, which again, we certainly hope that people can continue to support the people that are open, and the people that are even, not open, we want to make sure that we continue moving forward. And these tools allow us to have meetings, not face to face, but allow us to have meetings that seem face to face, and they're great, just great tools.
So if a company has an immediate need to work remotely, you can jump in and help them.
Immediately.
Today.
I mean, it
Yes.
doesn't even matter. Yeah, today. If someone called us, we have tools that we can, even if they have an IT department and they have all these different systems in place, we have systems that are completely separate from their systems today that will allow them to have a secure connection. There's just so many alternatives out there, and again, having the ability to work with those systems is a real strength for us.
Are there any other sort of new security concerns besides this topic you're talking about in terms of the sort of the meeting module? Any other new security concerns that have cropped up as a result of this change in how people are interacting professionally?
Well, I think there's a lot of phishing techniques that go out there. Today we're seeing more and more legitimate looking concerns where someone clicks on an email and it looks like it's a FedEx thing, or please re-authenticate to this system or re-authenticate to that system. Those are techniques that are out there, and they're being more sophisticated than ever of trying to get you to put your credentials in and steal those credentials. And so those credentials, once you give those up, they will, that's a gateway right into your system. So that's a real big system failure, and it's the human thing. Like, we're all human beings, and it's tough not to, trust people, and things that look legitimate, you can find yourself in a bad spot.
In your conversations with business owners about their IT infrastructure, are you starting to have conversations now that suggest that some of these businesses are going to be changing the way they do business, the way that employees work for the foreseeable future, well beyond reopening of the economy? For the people that can work remotely, they're going to make that the new normal?
I think so. I think that there's going to be a shift in the way that we do things, but I don't think that we're ever going to get away from, as human beings, we still, I have this notion of and this idea in my mind that, are we going to bow at each other? Are we going to not shake hands? Are we going to touch elbows? Are we going to kick our feet? Yeah, it's very difficult. It is. Well, and I think that there's no substitution for human interaction. And really what we do at TurnkeyIT is we support people. Mm-hmm. So wherever the people go and wherever they find their comfort, there's going to be, I think for the foreseeable future, there's going to be a lot of remote connectivity. But at the same time, I think there's nothing that can replace the human connection. And being, being part of, most of the people that call in, they're having human problems. I can't find my password. I forgot my password. I missed a file. I can't print. I emailed something I shouldn't have. Those kinds of human problems, they happen every day. So is the human condition changed for the moment? Yes. I'm hoping that it won't be forever, because I don't think there's a substitute for the handshake, the eye to eye, look someone in the eye. Teach my kids, look this guy in the look, Mr. Whoever you're meeting, look him in the eye, shake his hand, and all of that is not lost on society. I think that we'll return there in someday that we'll go back there, and I hope that we will. But until then, we have these great tools at our disposal to, kind of be the best substitute. It's like the best substitute that we could have for a human interaction. So I think we should take advantage of that, and I think that companies are, and the people that call us, we certainly give them the best of breed technologies.
Yeah, you'll serve humans right up until we're replaced by AI, Thandie Newton, Westworld style, and then you'll serve the AI types. That's exactly what I'm looking forward to, actually.
Yeah. So David, this morning 400,000 CPS students are now jumping on computers. They should be doing that, right? Oh, 2 minutes ago it started. Is there any where people are worried that that's going to slow down the internet in Chicago? Is that just a rumor?
Well, I definitely haven't seen it. I was actually very impressed with the way that the internet performed when all of this started taking place. Mm-hmm. We were all in workplaces, and we were still, using the internet and using our workplace internet connections. But then everybody went home and dispersed to all of their remote connections. And I thought there might be some, degradation of the network, and really we didn't see any of that. So I'm not worried about that. I think there's enough bandwidth to go around, and it's actually amazing. If this would have happened 10 years ago, we wouldn't have had any of this. We wouldn't have had, there wouldn't be any possibility to do any remote anything, because these tools, they existed, but they weren't widely available. They weren't accessible by, the common man. So I think in a lot of ways, having this happen today versus 10 years ago is a real blessing, because we're able to do things that we weren't able to do.
So sticking in the education sector too, I mean, they're a new normal, maybe less so K through 12 education, but perhaps more so in higher education, because of the price points, frankly, the distance learning issue. As that part of the new infrastructure that needs to be built for the new reality in terms of the interaction.
Yeah, I think so. But what I think is funny is that all these everyone that's using the Zoom technology, and this is kind of a dig on education, is everyone's using these free Zoom meetings, and they keep their meetings less than 40 minutes because that's the legal allotted time, or not legal, but it's the allotted time that you can have from a free Zoom meeting. And the fact that we're all of our education is now relying on this platform that's a free learning center just makes me think that the next iteration of this is going to actually be the real deal, where we're going to have schools and people that are not just jumping at something, but they're actually planning something where they plan e-learning. I think there's going to be a big change, a shift, I think, in education altogether for this e-learning, which is, again, not really e-learning. It's more like e-assigning.
Right.
He is David Kolssak. He is the owner of TurnkeyIT, as in TurnkeyIT Answer Line and TurnkeyIT Text Line here at AM 560, Chicago's Morning Answer. David, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate your insights.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
I have cabin fever already. Chicago weather is so unpredictable, and it could be months before we get outside for a little warm sunshine.
What about using the sunroom? We can sweep out the cobwebs. I can patch up the glass with duct tape. Get that raccoon out.
No. We need a complete overhaul of the sunroom. I'm calling Sunspace by Arborview.
Rediscover your dream sunroom. That existing sunroom or screened-in porch that's been neglected or used for storage can be a beautiful living space waiting to come alive. It just needs TLC from the sunroom experts at Sunspace by Arborview. Convert your screened-in porch into a 3-season room or turn an old, outdated